Between Avogadro's number, molar masses, and molar ratios, we have thrown a lot at you in the last couple of weeks, and we've asked you to combine all of those things into these large dimensional analysis stoichiometry calculations. And if you are feeling like these are confusing or difficult, you are not alone. I would say that the vast majority of chemistry students find this to be the most difficult part of chemistry. So there are a few things that can help you out. Of course, practice will always help you out. Practice will make you better. But sometimes it's also helpful to think about things in a slightly different way. So, what I'm going to show you today is something that I often show students who are struggling. And it's just a slightly different way to think about these large conversion calculations. I call it chemistry county. And what we're going to do is we're going to imagine that whenever you do one of these calculations, you are taking a journey through chemistry county, a fictional place. And depending on where you start and where you want to end up, yeah, you just have to follow the map, and the map will tell you exactly what to do next. So I'm going to switch over to my document camera and talk you through this. So grab a piece of blank paper and draw along with me so you can get this down. All right. So in Chemistry County, we started with simply understanding the mole. So I'm going to draw a set of mountains in the middle here, right? We can do some nice little shading to make these look good. Beautiful. All right, so we're going to call these the molar mountains. We started with understanding what a mole was. The next thing that we added into the equation is if you wanted to know how many particles you had. We talked about Avogadro's number, right? And we talked about how you could use that as a conversion factor to figure out how many particles of something you had. Or if you know how many particles you have, you can figure out how many moles of something you have, also using Avogadro's number. So basically, by teaching you that, we introduced a new location on the map. We'll call it the particle planes. We'll add some little grasses, maybe ooh, that's not very good, but maybe a little tree, uh, a cactus. That's supposed to be a cactus. I don't know how all three of these species are in the same place, but hey, don't worry about that. All right, these are the particle planes. Anything can happen. Now, there's a route to get you from the particle planes to the molar mountains and vice versa, and it's called Avogadro's Avenue. So you can take Avogadro's Avenue between the particle planes and the molar mountains. If you want to get from the molar mountains to the particle planes, or in other words, you want to figure out how many particles you have from a number of moles, what you're going to do is you're going to multiply by Avogadro's number, 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd. If you want to get from the particle planes to the molar mountains, oh no, I messed that up. Going this direction, it's going to be times 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd. Going this direction, if you have a number of particles and you want to know how many moles, it's going to be divided by. I'm so sorry, I messed that up. So we went back and forth between these two locations over and over and over again. And then we introduced another concept. We introduced the concept of molar masses, a number of grams. So over here, we've got, I apologize for my art skills. I'm not super skilled here. But we've got the Graham Canyon over here. Another location that you can get to. If you know how many moles of something you have, you know that you can figure out how many grams of something you have. And all you've got to do is you've got to go through the mass pass. If you know how many moles you have and you want to know how many grams you have, you're going to multiply by the molar mass of whatever substance you're in or whatever substance you're working with. And if you have a number of grams and you want to know how many moles, you're going to divide by the molar mass. So that right there summarizes a couple of weeks of chemistry material. And the thing is that you can even get from the particle planes to the Grand Canyon, but is there a direct route to get from the particle planes to the Grand Canyon? There is not. You have to go through the Molar Mountains. The Molar Mountains are kind of at the center of this map. So maybe this helps for people who are a little bit more visual to kind of conceive of what we've been talking about the last couple of weeks and put a visual aspect over the top of it. And there's one other thing that I want to talk about. The last thing that you learn to do is molar ratios. Within a balanced equation, you can determine how much of, for example, product you're going to form if you know how much of one of the reactants that you have to begin with. And the way that you can do that is you can use what we've been calling the magic box or a molar ratio to convert between those two substances. So on this map, what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a magic portal. I don't know how to draw this. We'll draw it like that. We're going to draw a magic portal to another land, and we'll call it the mole hole. And by going through this mole hole using a mole ratio, we can move from talking about one substance in a chemical reaction to talking about another substance in a chemical reaction. And once you get here, once you get into the land of another substance, Chemistry County is there as well, right? You've got the molar mountains here for this substance. Whoa, why is this so much more difficult upside down? You've got the Graham Canyon over here. Oh, I messed this up. Nailed it. You've got the particle planes over here with an upside down cactus. I don't think those are my strength. And you can now convert between all of these things for that new substance, right? So this is, and I'm not going to, for the sake of your time, I'm not going to write down all the numbers. But basically, this is Chemistry County. And you can start anywhere on this map and you can move to any other place on the map. So let's say that you started with a number of grams of one substance and you want to know how many particles of that substance you have. Well, what you're going to do is you're going to go from the Graham Canyon to the Molar Mountains to the particle planes, which means you're going to take the grams, you're going to divide by the molar mass, and then you're going to multiply by Avogadro's number. Let's say you had that same grams value of a certain substance, and you wanted to know how many moles of a different substance in a balanced equation you would have. Well, you're going to take that gram value, you're going to convert it to a mole value, and then you're going to use a mole ratio to convert to moles of the other substance. So in other words, you're going to go from the Graham Canyon across the mole pass to the mole mountains, the mass pass to the molar mountains, and then through the mole hole to the molar upside downtons down here. All right. You could even go from grams of one substance to grams of a different substance by going from the Graham Canyon to the Molar Mountains, through the mole hole to the mole upside downtons to the Graham Canyon down here. So divide by the molar mass of this substance, use a mole ratio to convert to this substance, and then use the molar mass of this substance to get to the Graham Canyon. Now, I don't know if that is helpful or more confusing for some of you. If it's more confusing, you can forget I ever said this. If just doing calculations is working for you, go for it. But if you're a person who's been struggling and you tend to learn things a little bit visually, maybe this was helpful. I hope so. So at this point, please draw your own chemistry county, put your own flair on it, add your own details, your own personal touch, make it colorful, whatever you want, and then share it because I'd love to see what you come up with. All right. Thanks for watching.